Japan. I'm 22 and my major is translation studies. And I study that in Boğaziçi University in Turkey, Istanbul.
My name is Drew Kellogg. I'm 22 years old. I come from the United States and I go to Missouri State University.
Seth, I'm 21, haha, and I come also from the United States, and I go to uncw.
So my name is Sophia Bingham. I'm 21, and I go to the University of Kentucky in Lexington, Kentucky.
My name is Andrew Wolf. I'm 21 years old. I come from Tennessee and I go to Middle Tennessee State University.
I think it's been like 2 years now. I feel like I just know enough to survive for now.
Start with Japanese first. I've been studying Japanese since January 21, so it's been about 2.5, almost 2 years. And the reason I came to Japan was to study more Japanese and to get better at it, because in Japan, I mean, it's a lot better to get better at Japanese here, because it's all around you and it's everywhere. And yeah, that's the main reason why I'm here, is to study Japanese.
My reasons are relatively the same. I studied off and on like 8 years ago. That's when I started, but then I really kicked it into gear once I got into college and I realized I didn't like my other degrees as much. So I started studying Japanese really intensely for the last couple of years, and I wanted to come to Japan to, well, up those skills. And I really like, I started in the first place because I really like Japanese philosophy and just how like different it is from Western philosophy in terms of just overall society people think and the individual, how they like just view the world differently, and I wanted to explore those differences through language. So I came to Japan to use that language to kind of figure out if what I was reading about was kind of true or not.
So I guess I came to Japan because my major is Japanese. So my major is actually Japanese language and international economics. And I started studying Japanese in high school because my hometown in Georgetown has a Toyota plant. It actually has the largest Toyota manufacturing plant in the world. My school had a sister city in Tahara, Japan, which is in the Aichi prefecture near Nagoya. So we offered Japanese, which is normally it's just French and Spanish, right? And then when I was in high school, I was like, we need to take a language, right? And normally I would have taken Spanish, but I can't roll my R's. So I was like, I should take Japanese. It'll be probably easier to pronounce because I'd watched some anime. So I took Japanese. And so since then it's been like formal study, about 7 years. But since that point, it's been like 8 years.
I've always been interested in Japan, whether it was food, culture, anime, or just anything really. I've always, ever since coming to college and knowing about study abroad, I've always wanted to have the opportunity to come and study in Japan. And I've been studying Japanese for about 1.5 years now.
Japanese is one of the languages I aim to translate in. I'm particularly interested in game translation or literature translation, so I came here to learn Japanese basically.
So after I graduate, I'm planning on graduating next semester in spring 23. And what I'm planning on doing is the JET program, which is to teach English in Japan through the government. And I'm going to use this opportunity to kind of get a lot better at Japanese because I'll have to go home next semester to graduate, and I want to come back here because it's just so much easier to get better at Japanese here. It's a lot harder back at home. That's why I've been doing it for 2 years, but back at home it was like super slow for that first year. And then after that, I mean, I want to get as good as I can, and I want to become some kind of translator or interpreter or something like that. I'll kind of nail it down a little bit, but that's kind of the idea right now.
For me, there's too many things I want to do. My current path is I just got an offer for a translating position online, translating different videos and stuff like that. Really localized is the word that they used, which means a lot of different things, I guess. I'm still figuring out that definition. But because I want to do a lot of translating work and work my way up to eventually interpreting, but I want to go to master's school for that. So I'll probably do JET for a year if I get in, and then go master's school for 2 years, and then I come back to Japan and interpret because I like the gratification of building those bridges between people. It's kind of it's like an adrenaline rush, instant feedback, which is translation's fun, but it's like it's a lot of sitting at your computer kind of work, which I've done for a while. I want to get out into the world and that kind of stuff. So, but also become a philosophy researcher as well. So all jobs that don't really make any money. Perpetually.
Yeah. That's what we're going into.
Yeah.
I mean, I really want to sometime do manga translation.
Really cool.
That's what I'm really into, is manga, and a lot of the manga that I've read have been like fan translated by people, because it's sometimes it takes forever to get over to the United States. So that's something I'd really want to get into.
I've always kind of seen Toyota as like a backup. It's like, oh, well, if I can't do anything else, I can go to Toyota. But really, my dream job, it's like very niche. I want to be a Japanese liaison at a bourbon distillery. I really, really like Kentucky culture. I feel like normally when you study a foreign language, people are like, oh, so you want to live abroad. You want to live in that country. And it's like, especially after this semester, it's like, I don't really want to live in Japan. But I would love to like work in a job where I can visit, and then work in a job that's like indicative of Kentucky and like taking Kentucky culture to Japan. And then bourbon, it's like a very Kentucky thing. And my school offers a bourbon distillation distribution certificate through the Jim Beam Institute. So I'm getting that right now. And then bourbon's actually on the up and up as far as like popularity of like liquors goes. So I believe their Maker's Mark, I know, has been bought out by a Japanese company. So it's starting to become like more popular in Japan as well.
After I graduate, I would like to continue using my Japanese in preferably a workplace environment. I want to deal with cross-cultural teams and other stuff like that, working with Japanese companies and Japanese people on a day-to-day basis, whether it's getting products out or having that daily interaction.
Well, it actually depends on the kind of university you go to. If you go to a state university, then you don't pay any tuition or whatever. But if you're going to a private university, then you have to pay some fees. But getting scholarship is pretty easy in private universities as well, so it's pretty much supported by the government itself. When doing exchange in abroad, we don't really have a lot of scholarships. We can get scholarships only if we go to like countries in Europe that's closer to us. But outside of the Europe, there aren't really any scholarships I could apply for, yeah. Well, definitely understanding Japanese better, and then I think I kind of want to understand the culture better in order to understand the language better as well.
The scholarship I am planning on getting, I think it's some kind of agreement between Kansai Gaidai and my school, Missouri State University, where basically if I had a good enough GPA before I came here, like the semester before, I think it's a 3.0, and if I had a 3.0 GPA while I'm here, they're giving me a $7,000 scholarship. So I have to apply for that in the next week, actually. So that's what they're giving me, because I paid a lot up front, and then they're going to give me some of that back at the end.
Yeah, that's awesome.
None. Absolutely none. At all. No, my school, there's so little options for financial aid and that kind of stuff. And I just honestly with the study abroad programs in general, that like if I listened to some people at my school, hopefully this doesn't get back to them, I would have not gotten here because they just tell you wrong information. So, about the visas, financial aid, all that kind of stuff. So if there was any available, I just missed it, but it wasn't through my school. It's all external sites. And even when you get scholarships, usually an external site just pays the school in your stead. At least for my degrees. They have some for like nursing and stuff like film, things like that, but not for study abroad or Japanese or philosophy, anything like that. So.
As far as like studying abroad specifically, there are like some scholarships I could have applied for and some that I did apply for. I didn't look too much into it because I'm on full exchange. But since I am staying another semester and having to push it, I went ahead and took out a loan.
So I had a few scholarships available to me. There was a scholarship offered by my education abroad office, which helped cover a large part of what I would need to pay to study abroad. I also have something called the Hope Scholarship, which also helped pay, and then as well as some private scholarships.
I mean, I think I've gained quite a bit since coming here. I would say I've mostly, in my Japanese ability, probably gained in reading and understanding Japanese. Because of this guy right here recommended me so many things to do, like Wanikani. I'll let you talk about that if you want to talk about it. I'll leave that to him. That's mainly what I've gotten better at, and it's gotten exponentially better since I've come here from when I did back in the States. Because one metric I've kind of used is JLPT, which I took last Sunday. Before I got here, I don't think I've been able to pass the JLPT 5, and then last Sunday I took the JLPT 4, which is one above that. And I'm pretty sure I passed. We'll see in February. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. But I think I did. I mean, the stuff I was reading and understanding on that, I would have had no idea before I got in here.
What I gained the most is, not to get too deep, but I think what I gained the most is like just personal growth in terms of like meeting people, talking to people, doing things I never had done. Like I remember with you actually, I remember saying, I don't know if I told you the story, but I was so introverted in the States, so introverted. I told him that once, and he almost like fell off his bike because he was like, what? Because I just go up to people and talk to them all the time nowadays. But like in the States, I was always staying in my room, always studying, always working out or doing something by myself. And I literally told myself, I was like, I'm gonna try my best just to talk, just to be like the extrovert, even if I'm faking to make it. I remember like we were sitting at the airport, and I like said it to myself, I was like, Seth, you got this goal, you're gonna do that, you're gonna get out of your shell. And I saw you on your phone completely, in every other situation in the States, I would have seen you like, oh, he's busy, and like not, right? But it's kind of like you're a little bored on your phone, kind of not fully pay attention. I was like, I'm just gonna force my way into conversation with him. Whether he likes it or not, I'm gonna go up to them and be like, hey, what's up? And be like all bubbly, and this is where we are now, right? And I just kept doing that, and I kept saying like, let's do this crazy thing, Like we biked to Kobe on a bike with our peers, and we walked to Nada, and climbed Fuji in the middle of the night, like this kind of stuff I never done in the States, because I've been like, I have studying, I have responsibilities, and I still had those obviously here, but I just kind of made it work. I kind of went, life is more important, like some things are like more important than studying. And so my advice for people here would be two things. One, just say yes to a lot of stuff. Just say yes. Like even if you think, oh, it's gonna be uncomfortable, there's so many things that are uncomfortable, and in terms of like, you'd be like, I don't know how to navigate the situation, especially if your Japanese isn't high enough, but just say yes. It works out, it's fun, as long, and you'll find people that you like to do say yes with, different friends like this guy. But my second piece of advice too, I think, is just, it's not that deep, right? Like Japan's just a place, it's not that deep, right? I think people overthink a lot of things about this place. Of like, oh, people are gonna be like this, is the food gonna be like this? I'm like, what do I have to do? Take a deep breath. It's not that deep. You'll figure it out.
So like I feel like I've gotten better at Japanese. I feel like it's a little bit hard here in this community because it's hard to meet Japanese people who don't want to practice English. So I've gotten better at Japanese. I've gotten better at cooking, and also just like going out and doing stuff on my own, because I was kind of a homebody back home. So now I'll just like go out and do things. I went to Kyoto by myself. I went to Tokyo by myself at the beginning of the semester. You get the chance to just go out and do a lot of things that when you're at your home university, you never like think to like go do stuff. People always say like do everything, right? People always say like take every opportunity, like do everything. Another thing is like you have to think about relaxing too. I feel like it's hard because it's a situation you've never been in, like wanting to do so many things, but then also having to balance school, meeting so many new people. Like you're gonna like wear yourself out if you don't be careful. So like it's okay to relax too.
I feel like I've gained a lot. Learning about myself and kind of being out of my comfort zone has been really informative about who I am as a person, what my strengths and weaknesses are, and then being able to adapt to a new environment has also been a very rewarding experience. I feel much more flexible, and the ability to handle like stressful situations where you're not really sure what's happening, which happens a lot because you don't know what's going on. I definitely recommend you study a little bit of Japanese beforehand, even if it's just hiragana and katakana. It'll help you so much if you just have that memorized. I think another great tool, just so you're not alone, as it's something that can kind of just catch up to you really quick if you're not like ready for it, is to use platforms like Hello Talk and just like reach out to like Japanese people who want to speak English and make friends that way. So that way when you come to Japan, you're not totally alone in a foreign country. Other than that, make a lot of friends and have fun. I mean, that's about all you can do. Another thing is be willing to use your Japanese even if you're not entirely sure if it's right. It'll help you a lot in the long run, being able to speak with confidence and be able to guess what the situation is, so you're less unaware of what might be happening.